up your slide deck. Sorry, your card view. Can we do a 40,000 foot pull? Your expectation here is that perhaps it's going to ramp up again this weekend. We are going to be looking later on in the show also about quite a few new UFO sightings in the last 2 weeks, seemingly right on cue again with Clef Eye's data suggesting that we would see that at the end of the June into July. And lo and behold, we're getting more and more reports now. So we'll look at that a little bit later into the show. But right now, just energy speaking, energy-wise here, there's a lot of astrological alignments, if you watch Joni Petrie here, that suggest that July could be very, very difficult and tumultuous. But I'm curious, this last week here, moving into the first week of July, what type of energies are we dealing with, Janine?
Well, we're coming out of some really intensity too.
Yep.
Okay, but like that little reprieve you were talking about, that feels like this card here. And actually that we came out like so far looking like we know more. We had some big drops from Trump. You know, he's not just dropping F-bombs, he's dropping all kinds of truth bombs out there. And we've got the strength card there. So the strength card, like we did have a lot of good intel drop this month. I can, you know, like looking back, it's wow. There's been some big moments, and most of them were posted by Trump, either on Truth Social or X, or got shared on X.
Yep.
Now it looks like, so we're kind of like in that, taking that breath here, and just sort of feeling like, okay, we got through June almost. Okay. But it does look like with that Three of Swords, there's going to be a lot of ramped up fear porn. That's what I would say that was. See, the Three of Swords is thoughts and words, and hurtful thoughts and words, or things that, like, maybe a lot of stuff will get regurgitated and brought up again. And it looks like in the news cycles, a lot of things get sort of hashed over. And so, like, because that card talks about old wounds coming back up. Okay, so it's, I don't know what we're talking about there, but I did notice a lot of new posts about everything Obama's been up to, and a real going over of Obama's like sins, I guess.
Right.
Really laying it out. It almost felt like they're
including again the pallets of cash that he had sent to Iran. That's making the news here again today. We'll get to that in just a moment. Yeah. So more of that coming out. But do you see? We're still talking in this week here. What's the setup on that bottom row there?
So that's the this is like a setup card. So from a lot of different areas, you're going to start seeing a ramping up. But it feels like it's more like a hunting ramping up. Like she might be going after people. It'll look like they're about ready to pounce on some people finally, which, like, we've seen this before. We were sure they were going to get Hillary or somebody about a month ago. I think we were talking about this. So it looks like they're going to, like, that'll start again, where they're bringing up all of these people's, the things they've done. And I don't know how many times they can do that without publicly arresting these people. Like, and I hope it leads to an arrest, but that feels like a big part of the ramping up is really rehashing what's been done and what these people have done.
Now, do you want to do maybe clarifiers on how maybe the normies are going to take this view, because we're going to have to adjust to them maybe having a freak out here very soon also? Like, what's the advice there?
Well, then first we'll look at how the normies will take it. We've got the moon. So a lot of this stuff they've just been avoiding and not paying attention to.
Okay.
Right. So it's not like they're going down the rabbit holes like we are, but there's a lot of disappointment when some of it gets really too in their face. So there's disappointment and lamenting and dragging their feet even a little to acknowledge it, like, unfortunately. Now here we've got the king. Here's the advice. So we've got the King of Cups. he's a psychological genius, so that's interesting. But he also keeps his cards close to his chest. So I feel like it's telling us to be like, let them come to this themselves. They have to actually come to the knowing themselves. Just keep your cards to your chest. Don't spill all the beans of everything you know, even if they're going over it verbally with you, like a friend or a family member. Just let them figure it out and let it sink in, and just be, be there if you feel like you have the energy, but don't jump in and explain it all to them. They've got to come to this conclusion that these are bad people themselves. Okay. Right. And this is there's a generosity to this card. So cutting them a little slack while they go through that stages of disbelief and then real disappointment. We all went through that. I for sure did when I found out Obama was the creep that he was. It was really, really like I was totally fooled. Remember, I was completely brainwashed by CNN. So
yeah,
I've come a long way since then. But I'm here to admit that I was one of those listening to CNN. And of course, there's nothing good comes out of CNN. But anyway.
The mainstream news is under deathbed here too. I just saw, I think there was a proposed settlement for the Trump lawsuit against CBS. I think now they're talking about awarding him a $20 million settlement. Whoa. This, of course, was for hacking up the Kamala Harris interview to making her look smart when she was actually absolutely horrible in the interview. And I thought that's funny because on one hand, the mainstream news, are having to pay for these clear biased mistake, right? This was not just somebody who made a mistake. It was planned and orchestrated. They spent a lot of time to edit that file. But it was a mistake in terms of their journalistic ethic and code of conduct. So they have to pay for it. But at the same time, we're seeing now politicians also pay for it in a big way. And I just love this. And this is the beauty here. Of course, this is on Joe Rogan again, but these long format interviews, these guys don't do well. They just don't. Like Bernie Sanders here was just absolutely destroyed on Joe Rogan's interview. And moving forward, I mean, if these guys are not authentic, they can't hide anymore behind the mainstream news, cutting up their interviews and having 1 minute sound bites. So I love this, and I wish there was more of this here in Canada too. So far, we're not typically going down that route. But I wish that this is going to be happening soon, and I wish for you guys also in the States that you continue these long form formats, especially for people who are wishing to be your leaders and to be part of the government. We have to know who they are and how they really think, outside of how they are packaged and massaged by mainstream news and whoever their puppets are. So I think this is a good news. It's stressful to them, of course, but if you're not in alignment, you're not in alignment. So,
You brought this up when Trump first did his long version interview.
With Joe Rogan, yeah.
Yeah, with Joe Rogan. You brought this up, that this was going to be a problem for these guys going forward. You nailed it.
Yeah. So, I mean, problem for them, but it's good for us. Again, it's waking up the people as to who these people really are, outside of that polished, soundbite that the mainstream news keeps pushing down our throat. Now, talking about the truth bombs, I just want to go back a little bit here for people who might not be watching our pay-per-views and the IAP that we produce and the shows that you produce on your TBJ earlier this week on tarotbyjanine.com. You mentioned comms earlier. Well, Trump was at it this week, too. So remember this month, we talked about all roads lead to Obama. Do you guys want military tribunals? The AutoPan scandal coming out into the open. The soulless robotic clones of Joe Biden. All of this, the body count, the Clinton body count in the White House press corps. Like, this was absolutely crazy. Well, Trump was at it again this week, guys. If you missed it in the mainstream news, let me just kind of share some of these items with you today. Here, of course, he was being asked about the broken ceasefire by both sides here, Iran and Israel. And he used a big F-bomb there. So if you haven't seen that clip, go check it out. Shadow of Ezra has it. I reposted it on my Twitter as well. But Trump was not too happy about that. And I think he stunned a lot of people here with that comment. I don't have to play it here, but you guys can go and check it out. This was interesting. Janine and I pulled on this on the NATO conference. Trump seems to be pretty short here next to Erdogan. So appears that there was a body double playing around on this particular event here, but he was also charged as a body double for a lot of comms during this NATO conference. So if you missed that, he did drop this one here. He talked about errors and something being sprayed, and perhaps we would need to do something better in the future. So he's talking about chemtrails here in a big way. Again, fascinating to hear the president talk about that, and the mainstream news completely ignore it this week. Nobody wants to admit that. But he was out there not holding or pulling his punches. This one was probably the funniest one, where he talked about, yeah, I sat with the king and the queen today. They were good looking, like central casting they were. He's telling you what's happening there. And at the beginning of that phrase, if you parse it also, he talked about queens and kings, plural. So he put all of that in that column there, suggesting that perhaps the monarchy is not what we think it is even today. So again, typically Trump in his past doesn't speak out of terms. The media mocks him a lot of the times when he says things like that, only to have them turn out to be true, whether it's 2 months later or 3 months later, or maybe years later now, as we're understanding this week. And this perhaps is the biggest peak of that is the FBI testifying here that they have evidence to show that the 2020 election was in fact stolen. And again, mainstream news not touching it. And at the very least, when they did touch it this week, they said, "Oh, Kash Patel is, promulgating some of those wild conspiracy theories," right? Still not looking at the evidence that was presented. So that's a lot already for this week for a lot of the normies to kind of have to swallow, let alone if you look at it from a bigger perspective of what's happened this month. Maybe we could do a poll on that here right now, too, in terms of how much of this is sticking. I know we've done it over the course of the last 3 weeks to look at these truth bombs individually to see, hey, did that stick? Is it moving the needle, so to speak, and waking up the normies? But now we have a momentum. We have a whole month of truth bombs being laid out, presumably as a setup for something that's about to happen in July, maybe August, September, and October in terms of actual justice having to do with these truth bombs. But has it done what it's supposed to do to wake up the people here to what's about to happen? Are we hitting the mark? Are we simply just, scaring the bejesus out of the the dark side or the enemy here? What's going on, Janine?
It's starting to build up in their consciousness. It's starting to build up. A lot of them aren't admitting it, or putting it in words.
Yeah.
Right. So this is resisting knowing something. So that's a lot of them are doing that, and just waiting, but like not knowing if they should even talk about it yet. Maybe hoping it just goes away.
Yeah.
Okay. And then that Two of Swords. So they're just going to wait and watch. And like I was telling you on a show sometime this week, my son reached out to me and was like, "What do you think of all this stuff going on with Iran? What's really going on, Mom?" He knew that something was, there was some big calm in what Trump did and said.
Right.
And he's not per se, he wouldn't follow truthers but he's getting wise and he's figuring it out all on his own, which I'm really proud of him. Mm-hmm. Of course, I give him pointers and point things out, but I, keep it to a low, like he's 22. So he's turning 22 July 1st, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, so they're just in denial here or just waiting and, maybe hoping it goes away, like I said. But we're 70% where we've got all of this, we're talking about the normies here. They got all of this stored up. They've been psyoped by the last 5 years and maybe longer by the White Hat Alliance. It's been really big lately, like the last 2 years for sure with politicians. They've been so in your face about what they're doing. Like people can't ignore it too much longer. Now we've got to surrender. So that's when they stop denying that something is super weird. And a lot of them are starting to at least say something's weird. Yeah. They don't know what's weird, but it's weird. Okay, so we're getting there. And this is interesting because this is in the past. It led to this, and that was all the spell casting, all of the psyops by the bad guys. They did it for years and years and years, also dumbing us down in school, creating entire institutions of learning where everyone went, almost everyone, and we're taught not to think for ourselves. So there were so many ways they got us, with childhood vaccines, like with just every which way, they were dumbing us down. And some of us escaped the dumbing down just by not paying attention in school, for instance. That would have been me for sure. Or asking a lot of questions like you said you did when you were young. You just didn't stop asking the questions. But surrender here, they're going to have to surrender to, we're not in Kansas anymore, and this whole landscape doesn't look the same anymore. And they're going to have to start looking for why that is. Okay, now this is interesting. So this is the advice here. We've got the Trump card, but when it's just giving advice, it's more talking about being truly, this guy's 100% himself. He's very expressive. He's a creative king. He speaks truth and integrity. Just be yourself and do your own thing. Don't keep it quiet like I've been doing that lately. Like I just say things, nobody even ever answers me, but in crowds, totally speaking my truth. I'm not lecturing anyone or trying to teach them. I just, instead of not saying what I just noticed about what happened, I'll say it. Right? If somebody's super woke in a public situation, I'll point it out to them. I'll be like, listen, what you just said, like super entitled. Okay. And here's why. In fact, I had a great, situation recently to get to do that. But anyway, so just be loud and proud and really yourself. Okay. And pay attention, keep paying attention. And also tread carefully, because we're going into some really, I think some events are coming up here with all of those, and even the peaks that were in that graph that Cliff High made up. Like the emotional peaks. I feel like travel's going to be really interesting in July, and I got that myself in a reading I did. Somebody asked about it. I did a reading on travel, and June was, it was okay. You had to use your instincts, but July was tricky all over the world.
Yeah. Okay. I mentioned earlier Joni Patry, and so if you haven't seen that video, it was this one here, monumental events coming in July 2025. Here's what you need to know. So go check out that video. She's a Vedic astrologer. I'm not too familiar with some of her terminology there. That's a different system that Meg uses, but they do come out to a lot of the same conclusions, but from different angles. And she's talking about a specific alignment that is akin to, or if not exact to, the element that was present, astrologically speaking, during 9/11. This is coming up also here in July, and she's saying, a lot of bad things could happen here. We did the special decode, Janine and I, a week or two ago on the Anon warning here that perhaps there could be retaliatory strikes on the United States. And unfortunately, there was a there to that. There was something in the cards. Whether that was made to happen, let happen, or organically happening, we weren't sure, or a mix of all of them above, but there could be some turmoil at that level. So again, the travel thing, if you don't necessarily have to in July, maybe take some of these advice and take a breather here on travel. Speaking of taking a breather, I forgot at the beginning of the show, Janine, we have the part 2 of the shamanic breath work available now on the Academy. This is long awaited. Of course, a lot of people took part 1 a couple of months ago, and they're ecstatic and patiently waiting for part 2. We've just launched it now. It's available in the Academy. If you use the code BREATH10, it will give you 10% off here. And here we go much, much deeper into detail here on how to use your breath to regulate yourself, to bring yourself into alignment, and many, many other benefits adding to that as well. And if you were at the conference, you got to see Sylvia perform this breathwork seminar here with everyone. It was absolutely positive and through the roof. And when people came out of there, it's like, whoa, okay. They felt the vibration, put it that way. So check it out, guys. Always a good idea here to practice your breath work. If you're not into that, of course, We learned that in martial arts as well, how to regulate our bodies before the fight, during the fight, all that stuff. But in terms of dealing with all of the stress that we're under right now, the unrealized and unresolved stress of all of this mainstream news and the threats of war and all this fear mongering, taking a breath is very important. And it sounds easy, but it's really not that easy. If you haven't practiced some of these tried and true methods, it always helps to have a video to kind of guide you through them. For example, I use the box breathing technique in Kung Fu to kind of acclimatize before the sparring or before the combat so that all your senses are aligned. And if nobody teaches you how to do that, you wouldn't just know automatically. And so typically your nervous system would regulate your breath when you're nervous, and you would breathe in more and your heart would race, and you have abilities to manipulate that. So anyways, check out the Shamanic Breathwork Part 2, guys, here available in the Academy. While you're there also, if you were interested in the Beginner's Guide to Astrocartography, this is understanding where you and your chart are best suited for the highest outcome here in your life in different aspects of your 12 different houses. Very fascinating workshop. You don't have any prerequisite needed for that, but really a good tool because a lot of people are moving right now. We're seeing that here in the last couple of months. Janine had forecasted that too. There is a big migration happening in many fronts here. And anyway, so if you're looking at understanding where you're moving to and where it could be more beneficial than others, this astrocartography workshop is for you. Meg did a fantastic job, and there it's on sale right now at 50% off with the code ASTRO50. All right, so you mentioned that your son was getting there. He's not yet a tinfoil hatter, but he's starting to understand that things are not just right. Janine, let's give away tonight. This is a brand new product here on ascensionorganites.com. This is the Beyond Mystic EMF half. Of course, it's laced with silver in the lining there, emulating that tinfoil, but much more comfortable, and also many other aspects to that as well. So let's give this one this evening. Oh, somebody's asking for the link to the Vedic astrologer you mentioned. Okay, so let me bring that down in the live chat for you guys. Hold on. Check out Jody Petrie on Rumble, but here's a link in the live chat for you guys. A fascinating video there as well. So there you go. That's in the live chat. Janine, while we're there in the live chat, do you have a question to give away this beautiful Beyond Mystic cap to one of our lovely audience members tonight?
Oh, I know.
Okay.
What was the date I said my son was turning 22?
Ooh, there's a few people who said that's my birthday too in the live chat, so that's an easy one. Okay, guys, so when is her son's birthday? While we wait for that to populate, if you guys are interested in these caps, of course, you can find them at ascensionorganites.com. If you use the coupon code Beyond Mystic, there you get 10% off. But wait, there's more. July 4th is just around the corner, and Carla has some amazing specials for you guys. So these, so the Beyond Mystic and Sending Ravens Shungite pendants are on sale at 50% off, as well as the Liberty Pyramid itself in that collection. So check it out. That's valid there until July 5th. And those are already marked down at 50% off there at ascensionorganites.com. And thank you, Carla, for giving away this beautiful silver-lined Beyond Mystic EMF protection hat tonight. Janine, let me know when you want me to stop the feed, and we'll pick a winner.
Stop.
All right. Pam Jenkins Miller. Hey, Pam, there's an actual picture. I love these, like actual names of people with faces. I love that. So congratulations, Pam. You're the winner of the hat. If you just go to the top of the page here at beyondmystic.net and you fill in the tech support form here at the top, let us know you're the winner, and we'll get Carla to send this out to you as soon as we can. And while you're there also, if you like these shows and you want to support us, of course, this is the annual summer sale. The Insider Access Pass is also on sale here at 50% off. A couple of days remaining on that one. And yes, you have priority access to all of our pay-per-views, and you get to ask questions also during our live recording. So a lot of value there. This is a full year of content on the Insider Access Pass. And for those of you who are already members and who want to renew their membership ahead of time, yes, you can use this code to give you 50% off, and it will automatically tack on an extra 12-month at the end of your current membership. And that's done automatically in the background. So check it out. Okay, Janine, let's go back to some of the news. And guys, we'll break a few times here because we have quite a few prizes to give away tonight. Janine and I are feeling somewhat generous. We're having fun. It's a celebration tonight. So speaking of celebration, it looks like the war's over, Janine, because Zelensky's no longer wearing his green fatigues. So speaking of comms this week, this was a big one, guys. If you missed it in the live chat and in the other shows this week, it appears here that this is no longer in the cards, so to speak. So even though Trump was focusing this week on peace and the ceasefire accord between Iran and Israel, this seems to also be in the cards. Why Zelensky was at NATO in the first place is still kind of confusing to most of us, as their country is not yet accepted into NATO. But nonetheless, he wasn't wearing a suit. He wasn't wearing the green fatigues. He was wearing a suit. Didn't have a tie, but still, he was on his good behavior here. And so, anyways, that did not make the mainstream news in that effect. But just keep that under mind here. It's probably going to be popping up in the next couple of days. There's probably a resolution coming very soon there for Ukraine as well. So that's also good news that we can maybe take a breath on here and celebrate moving forward. Janine, did you want to add anything on that before I go forward? Go ahead.
Yeah, did we already play that clip where that fellow at NATO, the NATO chief calls
Trump
daddy?
That was hilarious. I had it on my deck on the Monday night. I think we forgot to play, but that too was kind of like, oh my God, like
interesting.
It was crazy. And Jeb Bush, of all people, praising Donald Trump all of a sudden.
Yep.
And you remember Jeb Bush's face when they all got the envelope at the funeral. They wanted to kill this guy. Yep. And now they're praising him. So big change of fortunes already for Mr. Trump. He was in hot waters, of course, in the last couple of weeks. People were questioning whether or not he had gone mad or had been replaced. He did promise no foreign entanglements, no new wars. And yet it appeared last week that we were going in that direction with the bombings. And you and I were like, well, let's wait a little bit and give him a little bit of leeway here. We don't know what's going on truly behind the scenes. But at the same time, we wanted to ask questions because we were concerned as to where this was going, if this was going to escalate, or whether or not it was going to be a one and done. And every time you pulled on it in the last 2-3 weeks, you're like, yeah, it looks worse than it is. It's not really what's happening. There's something else in the background. And he will be, this was your prediction the last 2 weeks, Trump would be celebrated for bringing peace in that region. He would play that card at the end. And that seems to be what's playing out right now this week. The ceasefire is, in fact, holding. So again, got to give credit where credit is due there. But big news this week, and some reason to celebrate for sure and to take a breath. Another good one, Janine, for the audience who haven't been following us this week, this AutoPens thing is interesting because now we have a Biden aide admitting under oath that she signed as a president for over 20 months. But the real question is, who told her to do that? Who was controlling this person? Who was writing up the stuff that she was signing? So this is a lead up, of course, to justice that is coming down the pike here. And perhaps reversals of a lot of things that were in those AutoPens. So again, kind of good news. Not yet, but it's the building block here to maybe some more momentum on the justice side. I want to take a poll from the audience members here very quickly. Janine was talking about her son earlier, and she was saying also how when you pull the cards to see how people were impacted by all of these truth bombs in the last month, and you're saying it's starting to hit the mark, but they're going to have to let go at some point or surrender. It was the bottom row there. So I want to poll the audience members. You guys and your family and friends, your entourage right now, let me go to the live chat. Are you also seeing that some people are getting more awake? Maybe not at the point of, being on par with you with watching this show, but at least kind of like Janine's son and saying, something's not right. What the hell's going on here? Like, I feel it. I know it. I'm not sure what it is. Are you feeling that? Yes. Or are you not feeling that? No. Let us know if you're feeling a difference in the force, so to speak, a difference in the equilibrium. I'm curious to see. There's yes and no's right now in the chat. Yes, no. Baby steps. No. Oh, sorry. You guys can see that. Hold on. There you go. Slightly. No. Yes. Nope. Yes. It's mitigated, Janine, so far.
Yep.
Yeah. I guess that also perhaps depends what state you're in, how much control the media has in that state, on some of the armies. There's quite a bit of yes, though. That's encouraging. Because we had asked that question a couple of months ago, and there was a lot of no's. So it's encouraging, Janine. Okay. Yeah. So let's go next. Of course, Mr. Carney here, rolling his eyes and flipping the bird. That was the highlight here in Canada. It's hilarious because the budget officer was back out today suggesting, "Hey, dude, you're promising like $1 trillion worth of expenditures, and you're not showing us the numbers. How are you going to pay for this?" And the prime minister's response is, "Oh, we're going to grow the economy. Don't worry. Stop asking questions." Rolling your eyes. So it's kind of hilarious, but at the same time, it's not, because Trudeau, when he was asked these same questions and he was spending far less than Carney is spending, he just said, "Oh, don't worry. The budgets will balance themselves." Well, clearly they didn't balance themselves, and we're in the highest debt and deficit that we've ever been. So. And Carney now is promising even more debt to add to that pile. So how he's going to build the economy with that debt, he hasn't really explained, and he doesn't want to. And so we have to live with that right now, and we have to live with apparently what looks like him flipping the bird to the audience members. Isn't that just batshit crazy? This is the situation we're living here.
And then, of course, the central casting for the new health minister.
Yeah. Oh my God, I have that somewhere. I sent that to
so obvious.
Bro, I mean, come on. I said, look at this. So salary, $300K a year. She's a chemical engineer, and she's now advising Canadians and doctors on healthcare. She's the top doctor, but isn't a doctor. She has no MD, no PhD, and no health degree. And look at the health compared to JFK.
It's not looking healthy.
And of course, the Muslim background there too. Yeah. So a lot of people are scratching their heads in Canada. But why? We didn't have a Canadian person. We didn't have a healthy person. Yeah. We didn't have a doctor, an actual doctor. So,
yeah, I think you're just getting really, really, really in your face with this stuff.
Yeah. Outrageous and absurd, says TZ.
Yeah.
50. Yeah, pretty much, to coin Janine's terms, outrageous and absurd. Yes. Okay, so let's move on to dial. Never mind Mr. Carney here. Let's go through some of the stuff this week. So Nino posted something interesting the other day, and I wanted to ask you, and we ran out of time on the show last week. He was talking about there's something terrifying coming, ... He says, when the 6G rollout begins, insanity will become the new norm. Stay away from the vaccinated people. So here we thought in the last couple of years, this was a 5G thing. And mostly in the last year of you pulling on 5G appears to be kind of not as serious as we thought, or as the fearmongers would tell us it was a couple of years ago, that it was somewhat of a quote-unquote nothing burger. I'm paraphrasing, but you kept pulling in that direction. This, however, is a new, updated version of that 5G. Now we're talking about 6G. Can we do a poll on this? Is this also just fear porn being pulled out somehow, and Nino's caught in the crossfire here on reporting that? Not sure. He's not citing his sources for this one. Is there a 6G or a new technology coming out here that could negatively affect those affected, making them Manchurian candidates or making them go zombie-like, as we saw in the movies, Cell Tower, I think it was? What's going on with 6G? Let's do a poll on this one, Janine.
Wow, we got an ace of cups, but it is cups, which could be a creative thing.
Mm-hmm.
So now we've got two major arcanas, so that's interesting. Certainly there's a something, what he says there. Oh my goodness, two major arcanas in a row with an ace. So there's something to it for sure. But the something that it is could be a really creative approach.
Huh.
Okay, now this is interesting. So all of the down below cards, even though this looks like a really intense card, it's actually well aspected with these two. So it's a huge revelation card. And this card's about information coming out. So 6G feels like it could be more information and less about affecting their health. And what could drive them crazy is the truth bombs and them being so have to deal with. Like we saw those cards, it was like they're in total avoidance, a lot of them.
Yeah.
And then the surrender card. Okay, so the 10 of swords in somebody's back is surrender. Something's, you're not going to like it. They're not going to like it, but they just have to deal with it. Okay, that might send some of them over the edge. I wonder if that's a creative way to calm something. I wonder if it's not literally looking like there's a 6G that's going to harm people. I'm not getting this as a health thing. I'm getting this as it's going to send them over the edge, the normies. And I guess a lot of people believe that most normies are vaccinated, right?
Right. Well, okay. So this week, I don't know if you've seen this, and in the chat, let me know if you've noticed it too. But on social media, we've seen quite a few new studies, one in Japan, one in Australia, one in Europe, and they're all talking about vaccinating women having more miscarriages and a lot more of this, like early deaths and accelerated cancers. And it's like study after study after peer-reviewed studies, not tinfoil hat stuff. It's coming out here, and the last one today that came out too, Pfizer refused to comment at the time of the print. So there's a lot more coming out there to wake up the fact that there's damage that's been done, as we've been saying for a number of years. But I'm not sure I understand your pull here. You're talking about pushing them over the edge, the normies, so you're talking about the normies, so to speak, are going to be pushed up the edge, not necessarily vaccinated.
Well, no, I'm saying what he said there is, I think he's using creative language. And he's saying 6G, according to the cards, looks like it's more information coming out. So this card's clarity and information. This is like a revelation. It's like we're going into all new territory. People are going to have to, they could be confronted with the truth about vaccinating and what it does and what it's done to people.
So you would read this more, instead of talking about 6G, the antennas, the technology, you're talking about information coming out. This is going to bring insanity to a lot of the normies, most of which are vaccinated. This is how you would read that.
That's how I looking at these cards. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I wouldn't agree with that statement, because there's a lot coming out in just this month already. For those who I've seen kind of clue into that, they're not sure what to do with this. They're kind of like wobbly with the information, but they're not, but they can't, they've gone so far to see it now that they cannot unsee it, but they're not sure yet what it means, whereas maybe just a couple of months ago they would see it and would say, oh no, I can't look at that, I can't, and then they would carry on with their lives. Now they're at the point where they can't just carry on pretending they didn't see it. There's just too much for them, and they're like, it's uncomfortable right now for them. So that makes sense. Okay. Marie-Claire, she says, wonderful information. Thank you, Janine Jean-Claude. Well, merci, Marie-Claire. That's a beautiful French name. Okay, next up. Why do I have Carney with the finger again? I don't want to talk about you. Hold on. Okay, so this one was interesting, too, in the White House. You mentioned this, too, that they keep coming back to Obama here. So we had Trump a couple of weeks ago suggesting that all roads lead to Obama. I posted that on his social media, and in that same post, asking Americans if they were ready or willing for a military tribunals. Like, just that post is like a statement of a decade. I mean, for a president to make, right? And again, completely, if not mostly, ignored by mainstream news. Let me just change the slide deck, because I want to hear here so we can parse the words of what they're saying specifically here in the White House press corps on this one. So let me just go to this one here so we can share the volume with the audience. There we go. That should work.
Capabilities. The contrast in leadership could not be more clear. Barack Obama and Joe Biden sent pallets of cash, American taxpayer dollars, in a failed attempt to buy the Iranian regime's compliance with a weak and ineffective deal.
I'm not sure the cash was to buy compliance, by the way, but okay, you can spin it that way. But I'm still catching they sent pallets of cash here. The question is what, why, and why was there never any investigation on this? The fact that they're talking about it here in the contracts of what just happened and how Trump is dealing with the situation appears to at least be bringing eyes to what perhaps happened in the previous administration. She tied in here both Barack Obama and Biden together. Let's do a poll on that. Are we one step closer here, because when Trump made that comment about all roads lead to Obama, it appeared that it was a setup here for eventual justice coming down the pike. Are we a little bit further down that road here with this comment from the press corps?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. I guess we can stop there, Janine.
Yeah.
Okay. It's funny, eh? All right. Bill Gates. Let's look at him a little bit here too, or the franchise of Bill Gates. So Bill Gates is in panic mode now, says a Shadow of Ezra, after RFK Jr. froze all U.S. funding to Gavi, warning that the progress made to global vaccines is now in jeopardy. Okay. So this is another big one. So on one hand, we're seeing all of these new studies coming out this week, really putting out there the harm and damages that that occurred through the vaccine, mRNA. And now we're talking about potentially having some type of oversight and justice for the manufacturers and those behind the manufacturers here. So let's do a poll on this. Where is this going? Not on Bill Gates or whoever's playing the role right now, but the justice part here of first RFK freezing the funding to then eventually getting to perhaps heads rolling. Where are we on that front, Janine? And if you guys are interested, go to my Twitter page. Just in the last 2-3 days, all the stuff, these studies coming out with respect to COVID and the adverse effects are numerous. And again, peer-reviewed. And nobody's objecting to them. That's the other thing. Whereas before we were told, oh, that's propaganda, that's misinformation, disinformation. It was tagged as such over the last couple of years. But right now, those peer-reviewed studies are staying up there and they're not challenged. So the truth is coming out, Janine. But where do we go from the truth to then getting to the justice aspect of it?
Yeah, we're going to get there. This is the justice card. Okay. This would be like somebody called to justice. And we've got, and there's big heavy hitters here. So these guys have been lying and literally trying to kill humanity, really. And then here we've got this judgment card. So this is a big wake up call, and it's going to lead to some of the things I was getting earlier, like my earlier poll. Remember when this was there? I feel like it is going to bring up things, and not just from this vaccine, but I think this has been an agenda from the start of vaccines.
Yeah. I mean, Janine, you want to do clarifiers?
Yeah, so that's definitely a justice card. And then we've got the 9 of Swords. So this is a big part of what's going to freak everybody out, because I feel like they're going to put this really in the foreground. And I think that's what they're leading up to. Now we've got the 2 of Pentacles. It could, with a 2 of Pentacles, I feel like a month and a half, or like in the next month and a half, that kind of, like that usually indicates a month and a little bit.
So we're not years away. So again, those emotional values there that Cliffy was putting up for July, August, September, October, that's going to be part of it. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to talk about some ETs?
Yeah, let's talk about ETs.
Okay. Let's go to this one. This was a weird, this was Alabama. How many days ago was this? It was a couple of days ago, maybe 2 days ago. Something weird on the radar. So let me play that clip here. We don't need the audio on this, but it's going to appear right here. There you go. Okay. So you're like, what the hell was that? Was that an energetic bomb? I think we're going to do a replay here. Just a glitch. They're going to tell us it's a glitch. And in fact, they were saying, watch what happens on radar. They will probably claim it was just a malfunction. Well, look at the community note. The next rad weather radar, KBMX, went out of service around 3 p.m. on June 25. Okay. All right. Maybe it's just a radar glitch, or maybe there's something happening in Alabama that was picked up here by some of this beta tracking systems. Let's do a poll, Janine. Is it just a glitch? Does it have to do with ETs or energies coming from space? What's going on? Margie says, thank you, JC, Janine. Amazing show. Loving it. hopefully you both get some rest and relaxation. Oh yeah, I hope so too. Jenny and I need to catch up on some sleep here and really unwind, and also get to do some stuff around the house. We never get around to doing it, so that'll be part of my break there. Maybe working outside and having fun a little bit with family. All right, what do you see, Jenny?
I don't think it was just a glitch.
No?
No, I don't think so. They're trying to hide something, or it was like something was trying to come. Something was trying to move over the area in secret, but it got picked up.
Huh?
That's the feeling I got. Something was trying, but whatever it was friend. Maybe it really affected the radar.
Hold on. You broke up there. You said whatever it was friend. Did you say friend?
Friendly.
Friendly. Okay, you broke up there.
Yeah,
Friendly.
it wasn't like to cause trouble.
Okay.
And it looks like more information about it could be coming, because we're moving out of troubled water with information, and this is a really positive breakthrough card, breaking through with more information. And we've got the 9 of Cups, so it's kind of good news, but it's like I feel like they're trying to keep it secret. So it's some kind of energy created by, I think, otherworldly or other dimensional beings that make that like they must bring with them or trigger the radar.
Okay, hold on. So Karen, of course, she's joking. Oh, maybe they sucked up the Clintons in Alabama. Okay, maybe. Is that Arkansas? Is Arkansas in Alabama? I don't know my geography. I don't think so. No. At any rate, somebody's saying, is it a portal? Spirit Dancer, was it a portal trying to open maybe? So what you were just alluding to, maybe something that comes with them when they come here? Is that what was picked up?
Yeah, I feel like it was more like an object or energy that was entering. Well, I guess a portal would make sense because they're entering and then it set off the radar somehow. And the Fool says that it was unexpected. So nobody was expecting it. That's why it even we got to see it. Okay. And it will cause like inner fighting, like it feels like certain energies won't want us to know any more about it, but more is going to come out about it.
Okay.
So it was a something, and it triggered the. But yeah, I guess a portal does make sense, because what I got was they were coming into the area, and they set off the alarms. I guess that's why that big visual.
Okay. Why was I talking about Arkansas? Of course, it's not Alabama. Little Rock. That's where that airport was, right? For the Clintons that they were supposedly running drugs from. Okay, that's why. Yeah, that's not Alabama. It's a completely different state. Okay. Where do I want to go next? Let's go back here. So that was that one. So okay. So there's something to it basically. So okay. We'll keep that one. Now so that was in Alabama. Now we're gonna go above the skies in Europe and play this clip. So here, concerned citizen was reporting unknown object/craft appears on flight tracker traveling across Europe at insane speeds. I'm gonna play that clip here. Oh, hold on, I'll change that to this one. There you go. Whatever this item is here is moving, as you can see, way faster than the planes are moving. The planes are doing just a little bit of so whatever that is here was caught. Cliff responded to this one and says, hey, where can I buy one of these? Or right on track here for June and July for hotspots. So what's this thing over Europe, Janine? Let's try to zoom in on this guy. Who's screaming across Europe right now? Is that just some of our military going to Iran, doing stuff with brand new equipment we don't know anything about and it's been picked up on radar? Or is it ET related? Hey, MJ says, what an amazing show tonight. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Doesn't look ET. Looks more human.
Okay.
And it looks like related to the war. And they were responding to something, like military responding to something, coming fast and furious over somewhere. So the information war, the spiritual war we're in, it feels like it was a response by the white hat military to something that was going on.
Okay. Do you want to do a whole other pull on what that something was? Related to Iran, Israel, related to Ukraine, or related to something ET that they were trying to respond to?
Okay.
Let's see.
That's a deep state card. That's a sort of Khazarian mafia kind of card.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's interesting because it looks like they were tipped off about something. So they got a tip. And the something, we've got 2 10s, wasn't actually happening, but maybe they were just sending them on a wild goose chase. And then they got depleted energy when they got to they didn't really find the fight they were looking for or whatever, but they responded anyway because, just to be safe. So it was like they were responding to something that they were tipped off about, but they might have been just sent on a wild goose chase, or they were being really cautious and they didn't actually meet up with the situation that was supposedly. But let's see what it's not really giving me what the heck the thing was.
Yeah.
So something from somewhere. No, it's like the universe says, no, we're not going to know what that is. We don't get to know. So we've got to stay safe. That's a secret for now. So it's keeping people safe to not say anymore. Sorry.
Okay.
Reading the cards there. Yeah.
Okay.
Stay safe. This guy looks from a safe perspective.
Yeah.
Keep it secret. Yeah.
Keep it secret. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'm good with that for now. We'll come back to it later. There was another ET thing. So we did not Arkansas. Alabama. We did Alabama, Europe, and now this one. This is back in, I think, Florida or maybe Miami. Where was this one? Miami. So this is one of those cool, round orbs. Let me see if I can play the clip. There you go. You see that? That's not me doing that. It's whoever was recording there. So let me go back. See if I can get that a little bit closer for you guys. That. Where my cursor is there. Okay. So, Miami orbs. Let's do a reading on that. Didn't Stephen Greer just go in Latin America somewhere looking at an orb the other day? And it was suggesting that maybe we should have this on Joe Rogan. Stephen Greer orb. Just the other day. I saw that somewhere. Oh, he said, oh yeah. So they went to investigate this orb, and he says, men disguised as police came to try to steal this sphere-shaped UFO after new information is revealed. So that's Daily Mail. Let me see if we can find a picture. Okay, there you go. So that's like the size of a basketball, maybe. This one here, it's called the Buga Sphere. So I don't know if that's what we're seeing here in Florida. It looks maybe bigger than that. I'm not sure. What do you see there in the cards? What was happening in Florida?
It's something, because this is kind of off-world and alliance, and could even be future. So from a future sort of more advanced technology from the future. So it's maybe jumping timelines. I know some people say you can't do that, but I feel like you can move back and forth on on
Oh,
this, whatever it is we're on. I guess it's
yeah,
not a line per se, the
yeah.
squiggle or whatever, the time essence of time. I think we can move around on it. Certain energies can, for sure. Maybe you can learn or teach yourself to do that, or spiritually evolve to do that. But energies, they're coming from the future is what it looks like, and coming back over, and there's a message, so they're giving a mess. They're like there's
Oh,
you disappear. Oh, there you
I,
are.
I lost you there too.
Sorry, my
So you
internet
said it
went
was
off for a minute.
you said it was giving a message, and then we lost you.
Yeah, there's a message. So
Okay.
there's a message, and here we've got the Eight of Cups here. A lot of normies are. It's also giving them a message to look skyward and leave behind old ways of thinking about these things and start doing their research. I feel like the ET front, or the other dimensional, whatever you want to call it, that front. That's where we're going to get a lot of normies finally coming over here.
Huh.
So the adrenochrome stuff's a little gross for them. The infant satanic ritual abuse and,
Yeah.
like the horrific things they do to children and babies and all the pedo stuff. A lot of them can't stomach it. But I feel like this is where we're going to get them first over. So I feel like this is a strategy to get everybody looking skyward and looking at, and maybe the people that really don't want to, go outside their box. This will take them outside their box.
Okay. Wow. Do you want to take a stab at the message, though?
Well, I feel like it's what I just said there, to get them to. So maybe their message was the wrong word. So they're trying to get their attention. Let's say
Okay.
it that way.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. Okay.
Not a message, but the message is that there really is otherworldly beings,
Right.
or maybe they'll figure out it's time travel. There's stuff that's advanced and beyond what they thought was.
Mhm.
Their world is different than they think. I
Mhm.
feel like it's a way to start breaking down some of these people's barriers.
Wow. That's very cool.
It's like, yeah.
Well, again, if we go back to plotting what Cliff High had for us in terms of emotional values, let me see if I can bring this up. It's there again. And he was talking about how this was going to be prevalent in June and July, and perhaps an echo of the drone situation we were having over New Jersey in the fall of 2024. That was a setup for what's about to happen here in June, July. So we're seeing more and more of that. We're seeing tumultuous couple of months, of course, ahead of us here with all of these emotional high values. If you guys want to help, some help, or need some help navigating all of this in your life, depending on your astrological sign, check out this new Cosmic Alignment astrology calendar. This was produced by Meg, Moonbeam, and Sunny, of course. You can find that at thescorplingshop.com. Right now, if you use the coupon code SUMMER15, you'll get 15% off there. And that's really cool. It kind of gives you all of these major key alignments for this year and what to expect and how to decode that. So really cool calendar. Please do go check it out. We're going to give one away of these right now, Janine, to our lovely audience members. Do you have a question to give away this beautiful calendar, Janine?
I don't know.
I can ask.
You ask. Yep.
What's the month with the highest peak emotional values on Cliff's chart? What's the month, guys? Give us the month. And while you're there, go check out the Scorpling Shop, of course. And if you haven't seen it already, the new Beyond Crystal show, they just recorded again today. They're doing an amazing job. So if you're interested in crystals, what they do, how to use them properly, and all that stuff, check out Meg and Sunny's show every Thursday. They have a really, really cool show. And of course, if you're looking for some crystals, the Scorpling Shop and this new calendar here on sale at 15% off with code SUMMER15. Okay, so let's go back to the live chat. Hold on for just a second. I'm just going to change decks for this one and go back to here. This should work. Okay, Janine, let me know when you want me to stop. We'll pick a winner.
Stop.
Sassy. There you go. Sassy 1791, October. That is correct. See, October, the highest peak there is 102. It's going to be crazy. Okay, and remember, the Trump assassination emotional values, they were in the 40s, and we thought that it was high as fuck. Remember, like so many people were talking about that, stressing over that, the assassination attempt at Butler, Pennsylvania, 47, I think it was. And that was high compared to where we were sitting before that. But now, like, there's no 40s anywhere here to be seen. Like, we're in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 100. Like, man, this summer is going to be hot.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. All right, check out those calendars, guys. Check it out. A beautiful gift to give to somebody as well, and just for yourself to help navigate through all of this in your life. Like, all the tools at our disposal right now are absolutely valuable. Okay, I wanted to go. There's two things I want to do before the end of the show. So one, because you just mentioned it, the pedo stuff, people can't really handle it, and also what's weird again about Antarctica. So on the Diddy trial, is it just me, or it seems in the last couple of days that they're starting to soften us up for probably this is going to either be a mistrial, or maybe he's going to be let off the hook, or maybe a lot of the charges are going to be dropped all of a sudden. They seem to be walking it back right now. So have you seen that? Okay. So now the question is, are they going to walk it back? Or they're stressing us to, to put some pressure on them to then finally deliver an actual coup fatal or fatal blow? Yeah. What's going on with PDD right now?
Okay, so I want to remind everybody that the cards say he was already processed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and he's actually been working. So I guess not all the way processed, but he capitulated and he's been singing like a canary for years.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So they're going back and forth. They're going to go back and forth. They're doing it already. They're going to waver on just cutting them loose altogether.
Great. Like, that's frustrating. And a lot of people are going to say, you see, JC, there's nothing there. There's no adrenochrome harvesting. They're not fucking little babies. Like, no, JC, that's all like hogwash. It could be the case with I don't know. I'm not in this house, but okay. But then they're going to use that to dismiss any concerns about Epstein's client list, or perhaps Ghislaine Maxwell talking about the list. I don't know. This is going to be frustrating, I think, for a lot of people, Janine.
Yeah, I'm not saying they are going to cut them loose, but I feel like it's a ploy, though, and you got to trust this one because it looks like we'll win in the end on this one. It's going to tick a lot of people off because there's so much evidence even been circulated that he's just up to no good. You know what I mean? Really gross stuff going on. So I feel like, believe it or not, it's actually going to make a lot of normies mad.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know. It looks like, according to the cards here, it's actually going to be a victory for humanity, whatever they end up doing with him, because he's being dealt with, and that's hard to. If you don't believe that tribunals are going on, that'll be hard to stomach. You know what I mean? But this one, you might have to wait to feel good about this one. I mean,
and to be clear, this headline, in my opinion, is very misleading. So Jay Anderson, whoever this person is, was reporting here that, oh wow, all the major charges against P. Diddy have been dropped. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think the prosecutor streamlined a lot of the charges into like buckets, so to speak. So he wasn't dropping them. He was just kind of realigning and grouping things together, similar to what they did with Trump with the 57 or 37 charges or whatever. So they could be just streamlining here as they're making their closing arguments, as opposed to actually dropping charges. I don't know. I haven't been following it that close, just so you know. A lot of people were way more interested in this than you and I are, Janine. But still, there seems to be some type of confusion there as to what's happening with this trial. What's the last clarifier you have there?
Looks like it's a wake-up call. So it's trying to wake people up too, because of course what she's spinning also there is that maybe he's got, people, just like Epstein, he's got people on the inside. Maybe these guys are compromised.
Right, and they have
And-
blackmail tapes, and people are,
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly. Right. And so this 5, I don't think he's going to get off, though. I think it's more
Okay.
like what you're saying. But
Okay.
they're letting you. It's misleading on purpose. It looks like to me. It
Okay.
looks like it's misleading.
Okay. Well, we'll stay somewhat on top of it. There's so many news, but we'll come back to it as the days and weeks follow. The next one is Antarctica. So let me go back to that news item. Where did I see it? So yeah, this is a couple of days ago. I just keep forgetting to put it back up on the deck, but June 20th. Strange signals detected from Antarctica ice seem to defy laws of physics. Scientists are searching for an answer. There's also questions of perhaps an underground city being found also. So permeating through, but what was interesting about this one, compared to all of the truth bombs that Trump was putting out in the last month, I had a lot of normies ask me about this very thing. It hit their radar. It was CNN. So they were, and people were like, wait, what? There's something wrong in Antarctica? What's going on, JC, in Antarctica? I said, well, come and watch the show. So we're here, Janine. What's going on in Antarctica? Why are they putting this out through mainstream news, of course, that there's something here that a signal that's been detected. Some people are saying, oh, maybe it's a lost civilization under the earth, and some of the stuff has been activated somehow, creating a beacon or whatever. What's going on, Janine?
See, that's what I'm saying. The normies will react to stuff like that.
Yeah, easier than the adrenochrome stuff. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, it's a signal that's other dimensional off-world or energies and entities live in there or visiting there that are not from Earth, and or at least the Earth known to us.
Shit.
Yeah. Now that's interesting. In the middle, it is getting a lot of normies activated, because that's how does it affect the public in the middle? How does it affect the public? It gets them all interested. See, it gets them all looking at stuff. And that was the intention. So it's probably been emitting from there off and on for maybe hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years. I don't know. Right? They've known about it for a long time, because this card said it's their wish to draw attention, and they're especially targeting otherworldly, other dimensional. Like Cliff said, a lot of those highlights in the next month are going to be about ET. So it looks like it's an agenda. So they already know all this stuff. They just got to point and shine a spotlight on it.
Uh-huh.
It's all like that's all been planned to do this now.
Okay.
And so it looks like it's a good entity too. Another one that looks like it's not against humanity. So that's interesting.
Well, let's go a little bit further on clarifiers. Blyan is saying, are they benevolent?
Yeah, I think so with that. But let's have a look. 9 and well, now that's interesting. Okay, so they're more watchers, so they don't get involved. They watch, and their intention is to watch humanity evolve. So they have an agenda that we evolve, but they're not getting involved. They're watching, and they would only get involved if it was absolutely necessary. So that sounds benevolent to me.
Okay. Interesting. Now, timing for Antarctica, do more clarifiers. Like, we've been talking about this for a long time, and they keep bringing it up, it goes away, keep bringing it up, it goes away. Are we going to have serious hardcore news about Antarctica in the mainstream this year? What do you see?
2 major arcanas, and that looks like August.
Wow. Okay. We'll have to plot that again with Cliff's data and some of the astrology here. August. Okay. Wow. All right. You want to give some more prizes away, Janine? Why not? We started with the good vibrations. Let's end with the good vibrations tonight. This, of course, is the new alchemy bundle, the Summer Light Alchemy Bundle from Aline at floralinfarm.ca. These are amazing soaps. This is a very specific concoction here with a couple of products into one. Absolutely beautiful here. If you want to try that, go to floralandfarm.ca. BM Summer is the code there for 10% off. But we're going to give one of these packages away here tonight. Janine, do you have a question for the audience members to give this one away?
Trying to come up with one here. Shoot. Oh, no.
When is our last day of production videos before we go on vacation? All right.
Okay, that'll work.
All right.
Thanks.
So you guys, I hope you guys were paying attention. Yes, Jenny and I, and most of the crew here at Beyond Mystic, except Sarah, like she's going to be on here with tech support for you guys. We're taking 2 weeks off here in July. So let us know that last day of video production here before we take our vacation. So the last day here. I mentioned it at the beginning of the show that we were doing a special live edition that night for you guys. So while we wait for that, let me just go read this here. The Summer Light Alchemy Bundle. Harness the radiant energy of summer with the Summer Light Alchemy Bundle, a carefully crafted collection designed to nourish your skin and lift your spirits, inspired by the transformative power of sunlight and nature's pure ingredients. Like, Janine is such a cool person, man. She started with flowers a couple of years ago, the botanical blooms, selling flowers, doing amazing on that, and now learning from all of these recipes and all of the magical powers of these flowers and putting some of that into her concoctions here with the soaps. Of course, all rich cocoa butter, no chemicals in these soaps. Absolutely amazing. What's included in this? So 2 body soaps, 1 creamy face and body bar. That's the middle one there too. 1 lip balm, cocoa butter. Really, really cool. I love that one. And 1 Muru body balm. Not sure what that one is. Do you know what that one is? Muru butter. Oh, okay, so it's wow, interesting.
Yeah, like you just you can get it on your hands, or you can just take it right on your knees and elbows and spots that are really dry. Yeah, I've had those. Yeah.
Wow, really cool. Hey, that's a cool package, guys. Check it out. And what was the coupon code for you on this? BM Summer. Yeah, Beyond Mystic Summer, and you get 10% off of this kit here. Beautiful gift also for your friends and family. So check it out at floralandfarm.ca. And Janine, let's go back to the live chat here. Yes, let me know when to stop the feed. We'll pick a winner.
Stop.
Murdoch 007. There you go. You're the winner, June 30th. That's correct. It's going to be the Beyond the News that is normally on pay-per-view and IAP. We are going to be producing that live here on Rumble for you guys here just before we go on the break. So if I go back to the schedule page for you guys, we should have the schedule poster. Yes. So yeah, so July 1st to the 15th, we won't. Well, I say we won't. Generally speaking, most of the Beyond Mystic staff is on vacation. Janine and I will do sporadic videos here and there. Janine will put a few things. She is traveling quite a bit here to go see family, but she'll be doing some of those smaller snippets on her phone and uploading that to Terabyte Janine. So you won't be out completely for those 2 weeks. And of course, Janine and I promise, if there's anything absolutely crazy, we'll come in and we'll do some impromptu shows together for you guys, just Janine and I. But for the most part here, the Beyond Mystic crew there needs a break. They've been working on all cylinders since the conference, and they need time to recharge as well. So wish them all a happy little vacation here, and we'll be back for sure on July 15th in full force. All right. And so, yeah, if you want to see the rest of the shows for this week, and don't forget that's the poster here for Beyond Crystals. Quite a few shows here until Monday night, including, of course, the Wacky Woo with Joe and Richard Sunday night. And then Janine I will cap it off here on the Monday, June 30th. All right, Janine. Wait, did we pick a winner? Did I pick a winner for the bar?
Yeah, you did.
I did, right? Okay, Murdoch. Yes, Murdoch 7. Yes, go to Beyond Mystic, top of the page. Fill out that form. Yep. You remember last time we started talking about Alin's bath salts, and then we forgot to give away the salts. I thought for a moment I did a repeat of that, so I apologize for that. Sometimes I forget. I also want to give away an insider access pass tonight, so I'm going to do that here from the Discord chat. The last comment I just saw there is from Mark Davis with meme. Who is that? Is that Scarface? Yeah, Mark Davis. So Mark Davis in the Discord chat, I'm giving you 1 extra year here of the Insider Access Pass. So a big thank you to all of you there supporting us on the IAP. You make it possible for Janine and I to be out here doing all of these free shows. So big thank you to you guys. And yes, Mark Davis, just send Sarah an email and she will manually add another 12 months to your current IAP membership. And for those of you interested in supporting us that way, yes, please check out the IAP Summer 50 coupon code, 50% off there to get full priority access on all of our shows. Hey, there you go. He's also in the live chat. There you go, Mark. So he's in both chats. He's in the Discord chat and in the Rumble chat. All right, Mark, congratulations. Janine, before we go tonight, is there a question you wanted to look at? I know you did the quick draw Thursday today, but is there anything else maybe that came across your mind? You said, oh, we probably have to look at this. Or do you want to just do a general question to the universe of what we need to know? Because there's a lot of weird stuff coming down and we might not know how to phrase the question. What do you think is best before we go?
Let's just see what the universe wants to say.
Okay.
About the coming weekend even.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's funny because we started this show out saying there wasn't that much news, but then there was lots of news.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, relatively speaking, there's not a lot of news, but I mean, just 2 years ago, this would have been a full packed show. But typically, like this last week, I mean, there's so many things that an hour doesn't cut it, and you and I are out of breath by the time we're done, and we're still halfway through the slide deck. It's been crazy. Tonight kind of made sense and it was cool. We gave away a lot of gifts there. That's cool. And guys, yes, for those of you asking, John and Ravens, the Quick Draw Thursday, so you can find that. It's on the top of the page here on Rumble, free for you guys. And a lot of you were emailing, oddly enough, just in the last couple of days. I'm not sure how that happened. Probably somebody talked about it again, but everybody was looking for the psychic spies on Michael Jackson. And they said they couldn't find it. It's right there. It's got 48,000 views. It's missing quite a few views. So maybe people didn't get the notifications by email and they were looking for it. So just scroll down on the Rumble Beyond Mystic page and you'll find that episode. And it was a crazy episode on the Michael Jackson. I understand why you guys want to go see it. So go check it out. And also, don't forget the Quick Draw Thursday from earlier today. Okay, Janine, how did you phrase that question just so the audience knows here?
What does the universe want to tell us going forward?
Okay.
Yeah, because I know things are crazy, so we need kind of support getting through these days, Yeah. So this this is all of us. This is our woo community. And she is she's got a great sense of humor, but she doesn't take any guff. Okay, you don't mess with her. She's got her black cat, so that indicates that she keeps in touch with her instincts and intuition. She checks in with them. She has a really loud inner voice. It's not a whisper. It speaks to her. Yeah. So she pays attention to her inner voice. She's developed that connection. So spiritually, she goes forward and makes her decisions with integrity, personal integrity, and takes responsibility for her actions. And I feel like we're all striving to be that, right? Do that.
Yeah.
And a lot of us are achieving it. You know what I mean? We can't maybe always be here, but we're working on it. Now, here we've got Page of Wands, which is an all-new territory card. So this has been a theme for quite a while, but we're heading into new territory. We're already in it. Like we've really never been here before as a human race, it looks like. Mm-hmm. And I believe that to be true. It feels like the whole world, our landscape is not what we thought it was. And it's like the veils are coming down, right? And the spell casting's breaking down. We're starting to see how things are really manipulated. It's crazy, but we're starting to see a whole different landscape. And this 8 of Wands, that's really speeding up, and everybody can agree. This is why we need that breath workshop, okay? Because honestly, today I had to stop and do my own breath work. I absolutely had to just to get a grip on, just where we're at really. There's so many things coming at us hourly. Yeah. And I caught myself being really stressed, but I didn't know exactly why. And I just had to stop because we're picking up on the whole world. It's
Yeah.
on this in this crazy, like, I feel like there is rhyme and reason to it, and that's good, and that's what we're trying to help people understand. But it gets scary because we're in a place that we've never been.
Yeah, and you and I have been struggling in the last couple of months with these dread feelings that
Yeah.
are not always ours, and definitely the breath work is helping try to mitigate that. And again, guys, the price is very low on that, and there's already a 10%. There's no reason not to try that. Again, these are all techniques that if nobody teaches you, you won't find them by yourselves. So they're really helpful. Give it a try, and of course. Sylvia did a really good job there on part 2 of that. If you haven't seen part 1, you can still do part 2 standalone, but I do recommend you probably go see part 1 and add it to your repertoire here. These are all valuable tools that will serve you for the rest of your life. Absolutely. Okay, Janine, keep going with that third row.
Well, this is interesting. Right underneath her. So these two cards together are really powerful because she's the woo. And this card's incredibly intuitive. And I feel like she's already wise and intuitive and listens to her instincts. But this is where you're mastering your intuition. You could even be doing it for a living. I feel like a lot of us are going to need to, that's the big thing, like a big thing that we're moving into. The world we're going to navigate that's already showing itself is going to need you to be really integral to your own knowing and listen to your higher voice. So spiritually going into it, spiritually in touch with yourself and hearing and listening to your inner voice. I feel like that's going to be the biggest tools you're going to really need to navigate the new territory. And that's what that's saying. It won't make a lot of sense otherwise. If you're trying to make sense of it from what you were brought up in school with or what your parents told you or what your religion said, okay, I don't think it's going to make any sense. Right? That landscape doesn't make sense to the new one anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's good. It will get a lot harder. Things are speeding up, gets a lot harder for the normies, of course. She can also be really detached. So staying detached until somebody approaches. If they approach, then absolutely engage if you feel like you have the energy. But, maybe people are going to get really, really anxious. I believe they will with this card here. And it's going to be on overload. And I know we've been saying that for a long time, but I think we're right up to it.
Yeah. Wow. That's great advice. Thank you for that pull. Somebody just said, yeah, I'm doing the box breathing every night too to try to regulate. It's like, listen, this whole month, or we're not done exactly yet, but man, June didn't disappoint. So, and I could just imagine, just looking again at that chart, July is higher than June in terms of peak values. So we're in for it. And so I recommend you guys take some time off if you can as well. Spend some time in nature, hug your kids, hug your dog, hug your tree, whatever it is. Grounding is very important too. Your salt baths, also talking about Florendin Farms. Check that out if you haven't.
And even more like obvious, like it. In fact, he's as much as saying what's going on. Okay. So the latest one that I noticed was all his central casting stuff. Okay. That's been going on for years. We've got a whole collage here. I guess it's called a montage of all of his central casting where he, chats about central casting. And it happened over the last couple of years, but it's really ramped up lately. So we're going to play one for you here. Let's just play this little montage. See what you think.
Listen, I was like central casting. Central casting. You can't cast it. What do you have? You don't have anybody in Hollywood that looks like these guys.
These are central casting. If I'm doing a movie, I pick you, General Mattis.
Vice President Pence, he's a real talent, a real guy, and he is central casting. Do we agree? Central casting. Our NRCC chair, Tom Emmer, this guy's like central casting. You couldn't pick a better guy in Hollywood. There's no actor.
And he's central casting. Look at that guy, central casting.
Judge Kavanaugh, who's central casting. Everyone is central casting. Central casting. Glasses, head, boom.
He owns a hotel. Where is he? He's like central casting for ownership of a hotel.
You talk central casting, these guys, you couldn't, I mean, it's incredible. They had a master sergeant there. I could take him right now, bring him to Hollywood, make a military movie, and he's the star of the movie. That happened once before, you know.
Right? Like, can you believe that? And then his latest one, where he outs that the royal family in the Netherlands are central casted. Listen to this.
I actually had breakfast today with a king and a queen who were beautiful, beautiful people. Central casting, I must say. Very nice. We had a great time. I had breakfast this morning, the king and queen, and they're incredible people. I said, you're central casting. Beautiful people, great people, big, beautiful heart. I actually had breakfast today with a king and a queen who were.
Did you notice that he said a king and a queen? He didn't say the king and queen of the Netherlands or called them by their name. He said a king and a queen. In other words, central casted king and queen. So he's outing it. Like, that's not my question, because that's obvious. Okay, he's been calming central casting for a really long time, which, by the way, outs that this really, that Q board is all correct. Okay, just for starters. Okay, and it also tells us that the whole idea that a lot of this stuff that is supposedly going on happened in the past already, and we're being treated to the movie version of what's been going on. And that's what the cards have been getting for years about most of the situations that we find ourselves in, and why nothing seems to make sense. And everybody seems there's something really weird about how politicians are acting. So my first question is going to be, so we already know that he's outing central casting. That's my opinion. And that's fairly obvious in my opinion. Okay, so what we're going to ask is, how many people in politics are central casted? I've thought that the royals were central casted, and or in other words, they've been using actors for years for royals. Okay, and check out way back in the day. I don't know if you guys remember, but I used to look at the royals, especially the British royals, and I looked at them for about 3 years straight. And I started out liking those people, believe it or not, and turned out so much darkness around them, and that they're all fake. Like, everything about their lives are fake. So he's literally outing that these people are central casted. But like I said, I want to ask, how many politicians that we see around the world are central casted and not actually the people they were originally? How many? Let's have a look. What percentage, I guess I'm asking. That's a revelation card. It'll be a revelation, that says. So it's a shocking revelation. And this is things coming out. So this feels like it's nodding to that Trump is really shockingly telling the world. This is information coming out and seeing the big picture. So he's shockingly, that is a shocking truth bomb. Maybe it's shocking to people that haven't been watching my stuff. Or Jean-Claude stuff, okay, or any of the Beyond Mystic team, because we've been talking about this for a really long time. So kind of normies might be shocked by, hey, almost everybody in politics is central casted. But I'd go at least 60% with this card. Now, some of them are like we've known this for a while, but some of them have capitulated and agreed to, as part of their tribunal and or future, like they'll be tribunaled in the future, but in the meantime, they parade around and kind of do walks of shame, as I call it. And also, so the White Hat Alliance actually feeds them their lines, and they usually out themselves as like what Carney's doing in Canada, Mark Carney. He's outing himself as the weffer he is. Like, no politician in their right mind would run their whole campaign on something, and then within days of the winning, the votes or whatever. I don't think he really won, though. I think they just placed him in there. Okay, that election was completely fake. Okay, they didn't count any ballots. They already knew. Trump already knew Carney was getting in. But he right the minute he got in, he turned around and did the exact opposite. Okay, usually they give it a few weeks or months before they start doing that. Okay, because they want to get away with it. Okay, but they're not doing that anymore. They're not doing things normally anymore. They're not trying to be sneaky. They're just right in your face, which also is a big clue that you're watching central casted actors doing these things. But anyway, so it's looking like about 60%. And I feel like, yeah, the outings are going to get, I feel like the next thing Trump starts to out here, it looks like, is so he's moving in the direction of outing that we're in a war already. Okay, so never mind Third World War every couple of weeks. It looks like it's going to start. We're in the war. We've been in it for many years. The White Hat Alliance has been fighting the deep state. Now all of us are. Okay, for many, many years. Okay, and I feel like that's his next, and that was going to be my next question, but this card layout already answered it. He's moving in the direction to out the war we're in. Okay, so I was wondering, like, so he's outing central casting very specifically. He started out the month of June outing Obama, all the roads lead to Obama. Now he's going to be outing, I feel like, the war, and that we're actually in a war and we've been in a war. The war against the deep state. Of course, he's been doing that all along, but he might drop a really big truth bomb on that. So that's fascinating. All right. So I want to give a shout out to this breathwork workshop that's coming up. Yeah, so the shamanic breathwork part 2. Now, people absolutely loved the part 1. It was absolutely amazing. If you're in the audience and you were at the shamanic breathwork part 1, let us know what you thought about it. It's with Sylvia, and it's absolutely amazing. You can save 10% with code breathwork10. It's at the Beyond Mystic Academy. Also, we've got the Summer Light Alchemy Bundle, floralinfarm.ca. You want to go check this out. Amazing and such integral work this woman does with all her bath products. So check that out. Okay, so our second look, second thing we want to look at. What the heck was our second thing we wanted to... Just kidding. No, the second thing I want to do is I want to look at what can we see going forward, because we've got a lot of fear porn out there. A lot of people talking about the next 14 days are going to be, we could probably have one of those big events. The world might shut down. We've been hearing this for years now, but it's ramping up and it's starting to be really like, it could really happen any day. For reals. Okay, so let's have a look at what can we expect in the coming weekend, because to be honest, it does really feel like with all the ramping up of outing this stuff and all of the things Trump's been saying lately, I got a feeling we're really close to a big event that'll turn everybody's eyes in the same direction. And that's what's needed. Like there needs to be in the plot here, we're at the time in the plot where we need everybody's eyes on the same prize, which is taking down the deep state. Because right now there's such a big divide with like the normies just not getting it. And even though they're sort of getting it, they're not really admitting it. You know what I mean? Like there's all of that. So we need something that turns it all around, gets everybody looking at the same end game. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let's have a look at what can we expect here in the, between now and like say Monday. Anything we need to know about? There's definitely going to be a big fearful. Somebody's going to put out, it could even be a truther. We've seen this quite a bit from the truthers. And I think sometimes they believe this stuff, or maybe they're just, who knows, looking for, views or whatever, but huge fear porn. So continued fear porn where they're going to put out, the sleeper cells are all going to come awake at the same time and attack everybody in the US, blah, 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 blah. There's been all kinds of fear porn over the last few years, and it really ramps up almost every weekend, just before the weekend, have you noticed? And it gives nobody any rest over the weekend, unfortunately. And one day, one of these big events will come to pass, but it does get tiresome to hear about them every single weekend. So we're definitely going to hear a fear porn, like a really big one. Will be, just watch it. You guys will know. You'll know when you see it, right, in the community. Okay. And it's kind of unfortunate because I feel like, sometime in July, there is going to be a big event. July, August, September, October. There's definitely going to be a big event in one of those months. And I'm thinking by September it's happened already. Okay, because October has the biggest emotional spikes, according to Cliff High's data, where he plots the emotional spikes and gives us a whole graph on them. You can find that on all over social media. I've got it many times on my social medias. You can find that graph. Jean-Claude shows it all the time too. I feel like, but July looks like it's absolutely going to have something pretty big go down. But this weekend, they're going to talk about it like it's imminent and it's going to happen this weekend, whatever it is. So it could be the very same thing does happen eventually. So it's almost like crying wolf. Thank you, Coco. That's the one I was talking about. The most intense one is right in the first week of October, it looks like. So it's like, yikes, right? So something likely happens end of July, August, September, something that'll lead us up to a spike that big, just first week of October. Anyway, so here we've got the Chariot and the Judgment. Things are coming. Maybe not this weekend, but people will talk about them as if they are. What I think happens maybe is they get intel and they're not sure of the timing. And just to be safe, I think some of them put it out there because, like taking care of a lot of people in a way, like when you have a lot of followers, you want them to know what you know. Okay. And you don't exactly know when it's going to go down. So I've been doing that with my kids. Whenever I hear anything kind of intense, I just go, listen, I'm going to run this by you just so you know this is a potential coming up. Okay, so I get it. I get it. I don't think they're all just trying to be scammy, right? I think it's legit. They're trying to be helpful, actually. Okay, but we will see some big fear porn. And then the thing actually does happen down the road, but a month or two later after it happens. So watch for that and try to big, deep breath, get yourself some nature, have a nice tub. A salt tub. That's what I would do. I mean, everybody's different, what calms them down and what helps them feel good, right? So going into your next weekend, you're going to absolutely want to include things that calm you down so you don't get triggered by fear porn, okay? And that could mean not reading truth or news for the weekend. That might be the thing, right? I don't know. Everybody's different. Personally, I feel funny if I'm not looking at what people are saying out there. And I just try to be detached and keep a mind on the big picture. Okay. And I don't take it too personally. If somebody wants to really get excited about something they heard, I think they're just trying to help. Do you know what I mean? Or I'm going to give them the benefit of a doubt and think of it that way.
uống cả rồi. Cái gì nó tập sát nha. Nào, ngon luôn. Không phải là mà gì mà con vô đế ở đây xuống dưới là mất rồi. Vậy không rồi mình đã duy trì lại điều hòa tiếp này đó. Thế nào xíu là nó mình thích đi. câu nào đó. Xin bắt đầu thấy không? Dạ, dạ.